What's up, everybody? So we're back out in the shop with another Shop Talk Tuesday, and in this episode we are going to be making a knife that I kind of wanted to do for a little while now. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, from the thumbnail it kind of looks like a chef's knife, and from the title he's not using 5160, which is crazy because that's all he's been using lately. But yes, I am going to make a chef's knife inspired knife out of 1084 high carbon steel. Now, this knife, could you consider it a chef's knife? Yes, it's going to be the profile, but what am I going to use it for? Cutting steak. Yep. I'm going to be using this primarily just for cutting steaks. That's about it. I cook steak pretty much every single week. Of course, I also cook like pork chops and grilled chicken and all that. I use my grill at least 3 times a week, at least. It's a lot less cleanup than a bunch of pots and pans in the, on the stovetop. So me preferably, I grill a lot. But I've wanted a dedicated steak knife. I've got tons of knives that I've made and I've used them to cut up steaks, but I don't have one that I literally pull out, cut steaks with, eat my steak, clean, and put away. And that's dedicated to the steak knife position in a drawer. I don't have that position, but I'll make one. So I'm going to be doing that in this particular series. Now, of course, I couldn't just make a regular looking drop point, kind of, curved up blade, just a regular looking steak knife or something like that. I couldn't do that. I had to go a little bit extra with it. So I based the design for this particular profile on this knife right here. The Gyuto Chef's Knife from our K-Tip Gyuto Chef's Knife Challenge, the YouTube Makers Challenge. Now that guy, I based this particular profile on that. Of course, scaled it down, profiled it just a little bit. It's got the little K-tip to the front right here. Nice sweeping handle. It's going to be a nice thin handle to where I can pinch real easily if I want to. Of course, the ricasso area and the plunge line area is kicked back, because it's going to be sharpened edge all the way to the front. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Full flat grind. Now the goal for this particular knife is to forge it to profile. We're going to be using this piece of 1084, which of course isn't tall enough and isn't long enough. It's about that much too short. I couldn't take that profile, slap it on here, and do it stock removal. So we're going to have to forge this piece to actually get to those dimensions. So my goal is to forge most of this to profile. Of course, by the time it's all said and done, the handle will be fully forged to profile, and I'm probably going to go ahead and forge the blade fully to profile, but we'll see how it goes. And the goal is, in this particular episode, get it fully forged out, and then come in here and do a little bit of the cleanup on the 2x72 so that y'all can actually see what the profile looks like when it's all said and done. So that is the goal for this one. Now, I wanted to do this because I wanted to do something a little bit different than what we've been doing lately with all the 5160 knives and the post-apocalyptic stuff and the EDC stuff. And I just wanted to make a nice looking knife that I can use on a daily basis and just be happy with. So that's what we're going to do on this one. And who knows, if this ends up working out, I might make a few of them and put them on the website. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to put this thing through its through all of its paces and all of its tests to make sure it's a nice working knife, and we're going to see how it goes. But let's get out to the forge, light the forge up, and start swinging a hammer, forging some steel. Let's get it. So what I did to this point was go ahead, forge everything out. Now you can see I have some excess that I need to cut off, and I kind of played with the profile a little bit. I modified it just a hair, kind of changed the way that the handle is just a little bit from the profile I drew out, and I dropped the blade down just a hair from where it was. But we're only going to need to cut off just this little section right here. I probably won't even cut this top piece off. I'll probably just use the 2x72 for that. But we'll cut out some of this right here and then cut off some of the excess from forging. We'll get that all removed, and then we'll final profile it on the 2x72. But I did want to say that I did end up going with a texture just on this little area right here. I think it's going to give it a cool little depth whenever we end up grinding in our bevels and everything. But I'm really excited about this one. I think it's going to be a good profile, and I think it's going to be a comfortable knife. But let's go ahead, get this thing cut out, and then final profiled. So one of the things that I did to make this particular step a lot easier was after the forging process, I did go ahead and anneal the steel so that it's a lot easier to cut through, and I'm not burning up a whole entire blade trying to get this thing cut out. But there's our rough profile. Now we're going to fine tune it on the 2x72. Alright guys, let's go ahead and wrap this Shop Talk Tuesday up here. Now, to this point, we went ahead, went out to the forge, forged our rough profile, and then got, things like our texture on here. We thinned it from 3/16 down to right at about 1/8 of an inch in thickness. Now, of course, with the forging process, I didn't forge it exactly to profile. I forged it to roughly where my profile was. I already knew that I was going to end up cutting out this section right here because I didn't want to really just focus on forging that little area in. I was more interested in getting the steel moved to where it needed to be, getting it thinned out, and then being able to get it as flat as possible purely with forging. You know, one of my favorite parts about where I'm at within my forging right now is that I do have the ability to forge a uniform thickness of steel all the way down and forge it really flat, even while doing things like the textures on there, retaining the texture while still being able to flatten it and forge a uniform thickness. So I am proud of that because that means I don't have to get onto my 2x72 and grind anything flat. It is good to go. It's ready. Where it's at right now, it's ready. Put handle scales on it. I'm not going to have any gaps or anything like that. It's just going to fit up exactly how it's supposed to. Now, when it comes to grinding in the bevels, I will end up losing a lot of that texture, but there will still be some up here in this area, and it will give just some extra, you know, something to it, which I think is going to look really cool, and it will match my flair and my aesthetics. So I am excited about that. Now, after we got it forged, we went ahead, kind of refined the profile a little bit on the bandsaw, and then took from right there and popped onto the 2x72, and we really fine-tuned that profile to get to this right here. You know, we went inside here with the oscillating spindle sander, and then of course we made sure the spine was nice and smooth, that the cutting edge was nice and smooth. That way whenever I mark it and, you know, scribe my center line, everything will stand out real well. But I'm excited about this. I've wanted something like this for a while now, something that has that Gyuto kind of profile, but isn't as big as some of the Gyuto chef's knives that a lot of people make. You know, this is just a personal size, and I'm going to be using to, like I said, cut steaks and cut chicken and maybe some vegetables and stuff like that. But I think this is going to be absolutely awesome. I'm excited about the 1084. I know it's going to hold an edge for a long time, and it's going to be just an amazing, nice, awesome knife. So yeah, guys, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Are y'all excited about the little mini chef's knife or what I'm going to use as a steak knife? Excited to hear what y'all think. But that is the end of this one. If you would, give the video a thumbs up, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there, and I'll catch y'all this weekend.